Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon, here for Tabletop Tap Room. We're coming to you on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We don't normally do a recording on a Sunday, but events yesterday kind of necessitated it. It's just one thing after another has piled up. So I'm almost like forced to cover something. And so it's not a pleasant thing. We were driving back from New Hampshire from visiting a college and taking in Gamers Health over the phone, watching it on the phone while I was driving. And the troll that has been frequenting Gamers Health till he gets banned, and then he creates a new account and gets banned, and then creates a new account and gets banned. Just nonstop, showed up at the 20-minute mark, which is his usual show up at Gamers Health. Then this morning, I received a letter from a confidential source. I plan on reading the letter. Might have to substitute a word or two, and then maybe I might comment on one other post that turned up on Facebook this morning. So on Gamers Health, this is the live stream, Saturday night live stream done by 10 Cars Tavern. Well, it's actually not really 10 Cars Tavern technically. It's Gamers Health. It's done by Eric, Stina, and Rachel. And the Art Test is the troll. We might be able to discern who he is. He might reveal who he is in his responses. The topic for Gamers Health last night was coping with adversity. And so ArcTest shows up and says, so are we going to talk about Dawn and his dead kid? That is adversity. I mean, he killed her, unplugged her. So Dawn, how did it feel to kill your kid? Now, for some context, he's referring to Dawn Samora. A couple years ago, I believe it was 2019. Dawn's daughter had made her wishes known to the family. She did not wish to remain on life support if something happened to her. And she went into the hospital. We will not go into what all of the the medical stuff was. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of family private. But Dawn was forced to make the decision to remove her from the life support. And so, as per her wishes, and she passed. This was posted to get it done. And this is, obviously today's Father's Day. It must be excessively poignant, tough for Dawn today because it is Father's Day. I just can't even imagine. I just can't even imagine going through this myself. So this is an especially heinous attack on Dawn Samora of Wizard Tower Games. It's intended. It's intended right off the bat to be the absolute. What can I do that's the most painful? Where can I try to poke to get under his skin? Without even a pause, he throws that out there, and without even a pause, he goes straight to Tom's wife, goofy kid graduating. It's not even an intelligible sentence. It's just a string of words. But I mean, it's not hard to figure out. I recently posted photos of the graduation that the good wife and I went to for one of our kids. And it happens to be our daughter with special needs. So, he's going right at it. And he's doing this the day before Father's Day. Why not? Because that's just the level of trolldom that he comes from. Dawn was like, making a comment about, you going to be at at the same convention, ... And ArcTest says you will be in prison. Now, this is an interesting statement you will be in prison. This is, because obviously he's poking Don. He's trying to get it done. And this attack on Don's daughter that passed, it's something we've heard before from numerous alts, from numerous, fake accounts, And so he says, you will be in prison. That's really interesting because there's only one person in the world that's concerned with Don going to jail. And that is a person who Don Samora has been subpoenaed in federal court to give evidence of what he knows concerning business and business practices of one Justin Lanassa. Justin then entered into a campaign of harassment of Don, so much so that the court put an order in place. No contact, no more contact, no more. And about 2 days, I believe it was 2 days before this order, when it was put in place by the judge, Justin Lanassa went to the sheriff or police in his town and swore out a false police report that Don had stolen $33,000. Now, there's a whole saga here of, he says one time it's 23, then he changes it to 33, and then it's 28. The numbers are never the same. It's how you know it's not true, is the guy can't even keep the numbers straight. But he took a police report, and because Don's in a whole nother state, whole nother jurisdiction, it was referred to the sheriff in Don's locality. Eventually, they took out a warrant. They went to Don's house. The warrant was to search the house and confiscate any and all computer equipment, including Don's phone. And so Don was like, "No, really, come on in." And he says, "Really?" He says, "Well, I have all of my receipts. I have all of my records." And he laid them out for them. He says, "As a matter of fact, why don't I get my lawyer on the phone? Why don't I get Wizards of the Coast lawyer? And they can talk to you about this no harassment order, because this is certainly harassment and torturous interference." And so after the sheriff, sitting at Don's kitchen table, looked at all of the receipts, looked at all of the evidence that Don presented him, and talked to the lawyers involved, he decided to not prosecute the warrant as it was written. And rather than take all of the computer equipment in the house, the only thing he took was Don's cell phone. Now, I talked to, among my many contacts are several people who are former law enforcement and active law enforcement. Some of them are even federal law enforcement. I talked to one of my contacts, and they said that what the sheriff did was the least possible thing he could do as far as enforcing the warrant. It was the absolute least that he could do was taking the phone. And so Don had the inconvenience of using his wife's phone for a few days until he got his phone back. So but he totally gave them all of the records that he had. Said, "Here's all the records. Here's all the documentation. Here's all the proof. You want to clone my phone? Go ahead, clone my phone. I'll unlock it." And so they did that. They did not prosecute the warrant as it was written. So this person who is really concerned with Don going to prison, and by the way, the amount of money involved in this warrant, there was this false police report, is enough to get Don prosecuted for a felony. So this was an attempt to get Don in jail, to nullify him as a witness in the WotC Wizards of the Coast case that Justin Lanassa is involved in. So this art text, Don says, sometime we're going to be at the same convention, and he comes back with, "You'll be in prison." It's kind of evidence, pretty good evidence, that who are we talking to here? It must be, most likely, Justin Lanassa. Show me another person on this earth that has a motive to see Dawn put in prison. There's only one person, and that person has tried and failed to get Dawn arrested. I would say 90% likely this has to be Justin Lanassa saying, you will be in prison. Then he doesn't stop there. Mental kids graduate. That's going back to me, trying to get at me. And then he says, Tom's wife, Tammy, bending over to make it happen. Now, you know, he likes to say the most crude and crass things about women, whoever this art text is, because we don't really know. I mean, he's hiding behind this fake account here. We suspect. But what is he saying here, making it happen? I think he's saying that her position as a special ed director of a charter school here in Maine, and then as a special ed director of a whole school district, and then as a director for the state in the special ed field of a whole site. It's not a school, but it's a whole site concerned with special ed and working with children. That she has somehow used her influence to get my kid to graduate. Well,
it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. You know, the facts of the case, and I'm not going to actually enlighten Justin to the facts of the case, but he's an idiot for suggesting this. Excuse me. I'm not gonna enlighten Art Test to the facts of the case, but he's especially an idiot. We had to travel to another state to attend this graduation. So if she's a state director here, you know, it's totally stupid, absolutely stupid. But you know, this is what we're dealing with. And then immediately after saying that, he says Dawn's wife bending over. And then he says Tammy and Dawn's wife with things dumped on their chins. And, you know, now we're really going in the gutter here.
Where else is he going to go?
Well,
he's got no other place to go.
Yeah, he's pretty much scraping the bottom of a dirty trash can that smells like rotten fish. That's pretty much where he's at. And there's a comment coming back from Wizard Tower Games. That's Don Samora here, but we'll get it in this one here. I've scrolled it. The day is coming. Justin, he addresses him by name. You and me are going to talk soon. And then this is actually my comment. Tammy Veralt says, somebody drunk posting. I was driving the car. We're coming back from New Hampshire, from visiting a college with one of the kids. And so I'm driving, Tammy's texting. This is my comment. Somebody's obviously drunk posting. They're off the hook. Then we get this whole string of Eric, you lost, face it, deal with it. You lost, Eric. You can't do anything. You can do nothing. Eric began engaging. Oh, really? A person, I don't know who you are, because Eric's not allowed per his court case with Justin Lanassa to have communication with Justin. So person who I don't know who you are, Mr. Art Test, how did I lose? I haven't lost anything. He's not lost anything. He's winning his case. It's just that there's currently a stay in place because Justin and TSR have filed for bankruptcy. So there's been some stays put in place in some of the court cases, but those stays may not stay in place. May not. We'll just see. And so Eric began engaging him that way. But then he says, I want, WQANT, I think he meant I want to know what you did. What did it feel like to unplug your kid, Dawn? Was there insurance involved? Man, killing your kid for insurance. Wow. I mean, absolute lowest of the low to go there. And absolute low. And Dawn says, be a man. let's talk face to face. Now, let me just scroll this again here, because Tammy says this, and what she meant to say, what she says here is, Justin, what are you doing to do when all the trustee clause, all the assets back? What she meant to say.
Oh, it's dark and rainy and bumpy. Sorry.
And, I'm driving in the rain and trying to keep the car on the road because it was raining hard. But what she meant to say was, Justin, what are you going to do when the trustee clause back all the assets? But the person, whoever it is that's behind Art Test, 90% sure it's Justin. That's why we labeled him Justin. Says TSR is not gone. Now, if this was any other person in the world, they'd be like, who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Okay, any other person in the world, not that familiar with the fact that Justin declared bankruptcy. Any other person in the world would be like, what are you talking about? You're a fool. You're an idiot. I'm not Justin. But no, he responds as Justin, TSR is not gone. And that's interesting because I got this from another alt of Justin's on my Is New TSR Going Away video from 3 weeks ago. He said, see if we can blow this up. Make it even bigger. Not going away. It's simply being reorganized. Well, who would say that? That'd be the person who declared bankruptcy. They're establishing that it's not going away. It's just being reorganized, which is interesting because the bankruptcy was Chapter 7. That's kind of the walk away bankruptcy, as I understand it, where they just sell everything. They sell all the assets. They sell all the inventory. They try to pay back as much as they can to the creditors, and boom, it goes away. But he seems to think it's being reorganized. And let's go back. Right here, TSR is not gone. In fact, it's not. I'm wondering if the trustee in North Carolina knows that he's already created another TSR LLC filed in Wisconsin, that he's probably just going to, after the bankruptcy is discharged, start operating as TSR LLC in Wisconsin. So yeah, I think he's broadcasting his intentions here to defraud, because he's filed the bankruptcy and said no inventory, no assets, no this, that, and the other thing. And we were renting 2 offices, but we don't even have a paperclip. We don't even have a stapler, not even an office chair, not even a computer. And we're somehow accruing more in rent than we do in revenue, because he's only reporting, less than, I don't know, it was what I totaled the numbers up. It's like 27,000 in revenue. He reported for 3 years, and he's reporting 28,000 in back rent due at 2 different locations owned by himself. I don't know how that works. But so right here, he has unmasked himself by saying TSR is not gone in response to Tammy calling him Justin. So then he says TSR is not gone. Tammy pours on some sass and says, "Yet." There, I love that. I thought that was pretty. I like that. And then he responds, "You know nothing about business. You know nothing about how business wokesa. WOEKSA. Wokesa. I don't know what that word is. Could be works. Could be Justin. I did one time. He posted "Go woke, go broke." So maybe this is a admission about how TSR went broke. That it went woke. You know nothing about how business goes wokesa. He went wokesa. Now he's brokesa and filing for bankruptcy because he's wokesa. I don't know. Not sure. And so Tammy then, with more sass, responds, "Well, that makes 2 of us." And then he threatens libel and slander. You will find out soon. Well, that's Justin's famous thing. You're going to get sued. Papers are coming soon. You're going to be sued, dude. I'm going to sue you. S-U-D-E. Because he doesn't know how to spell sue or lawsuit. You're going to get sued. But here's the funny thing. You can't sue us for libel and slander when you're hiding behind a fake art test. You just can't do it. Okay, sorry. What, I slandered art test? I mean, I really don't know who art test is. I mean, I surmise because he's unmasking himself that it probably has to be Justin. Only Justin Lanassa is concerned with sending Don Samora to jail. He attempted it and it failed. Okay, only Justin Lanassa is concerned about keeping TSR in business. It's not gone. It's just being reorganized. That would only be Justin Lanassa, the person who filed for bankruptcy for TSR. So I surmise, but I don't know. So I can't really be guilty of slandering art test. Okay, just can't. So whatever. Tammy, talking for Tommy, the gutless blogger. Well, Justin, or art test, or whoever you are, you can call me a gutless blogger, but I'm just going to point out, I got more courage than you because I don't hide behind a computer screen. Okay. I don't need to hide. I say what I got to say and I put it out there, and I'm not afraid to use my real face and my real name. So who's the gutless person here? Who's Art? Justin, whoever your name is? Why is Tom not talking? Because his wife does his talking? No.
Clearly, he was not paying attention during the first 20 minutes when I said, we're in the car and I'm typing for Tom.
Well, paying attention, getting facts straight, not his strong suit. I'm sorry, it's just not his strong suit. So now, Wizard Tower Games responds, Justin, I hope you never have to make the decision I had to make.
Yeah.
I hope you never experience the loss of a child. Don's saying this because Don is a genuine human being. He would not even wish this on his own worst enemy. And his own worst enemy is none other than Justin Lanassa. Okay. But Don is a genuine human being. And
he's a genuine, compassionate, good human being.
Yes. My apologies for not adding in those qualifiers as well, because he is definitely a very compassionate and good human being. And then Art Test tries to misconstrue, attacking a kid, attacking Justin's kid. Now, totally not. Let's blowing this up. Justin, I hope you never have to make this decision I had to make. I hope you never experience the loss of a child. That's a wish and a hope on Don's part. He's wishing a good wish and a positive wish for Justin that nothing ever happens to his kid. Okay? And that's because Don's a good person. And he would never wish what he went through on his own worst enemy. But here we have apparently an apparent own worst enemy trying to misconstrue. He's so desperate. He's so desperate, so pathetic. And then this is the point where he got banned. I received this confidential letter from a confidential source. It's addressed to the anonymous troll that went on the live stream last night and trolled. It's we're going to just go with this, preserving the fiction that we don't know who it is. We certainly suspect. We certainly have our opinions. I do, at least. But I've agreed to read the letter. But there is one word in here that is repetitive and a bit impolite, and I'm going to substitute another word. So my apologies to the person who wrote this. I know I agreed to read it. I'm just not going to be able to read it as is. We will substitute the word, but I have highlighted the other word. People can read it for themselves if they wish. And we'll blow this up yet again. There you go. You should be able to read that on screen. You know what the word is. To the anonymous troll, you are a wussy in the fullest definition of the word. You were a wussy at birth, and your childhood reflected it. You see, I don't know who you are, but I know why you are. Short and fat, and you were bullied in school. You weren't funny enough to make the other kids laugh and leave you alone. You were too stupid to do well on tests. You were always picked last for everything. You likely joined the military, but your fellow soldiers, airmen, or sailors, we know you'd never make it in the Marines, smelled a wussy when they saw one, and your military life was miserable. You never made rank. You married in the hopes a spouse would be someone you could boss around, but instead they quickly realized you were a wussy, and you fell right back into your wussy role. You think that hiding behind your mother's skirts or computer screen and yelling names at others, mocking them, and quickly ducking behind anonymity makes you a man, but it doesn't. You're still a wussy. You mock the children of those that are better than you. How do we know that they are better than you? They show the world their true faces. They show the world their true names. They are not afraid of the world, hiding behind their mother's skirts or computer screens like wussies. You mock the wives of those that are better than you, wives that are more educated than you. Why? Because just like your own spouse, they know you for the wussy you are. Women always know when a male is a wussy. You're not a man. You never have been. You wish you were, just like Pinocchio wished he was a real boy. But you lack even an ounce of integrity, let alone humanity. You're simply a scared little wussy. I pity you. You were born a wussy. You were raised a wussy. You lived your life as a wussy because you know no other way to live. And at some point, you will die as a wussy. Being a wussy is no way to live your life, and yet here you are. So I pity you. Letter is unsigned, but it is from my confidential source. Now, why? Why do I continue to cover this? It's a good question. And, the why was illustrated this morning in a post that happened on Facebook. And so let me just bring that up. Now, I know that somebody else has already done a video covering this in the gaming community. And I just want to point out here, Wonderfilled. This is Deinhardt. Yes, it's, he does this post, and yes, it's true. Maybe you've heard they killed TSR again. That said, the courts are clear who owns TSR. It's not Hasbro doing business as Wizards of the Coast. We appreciate you all. Thanks for being a part of this journey to making dreams come true. Naturally, like any good story, it ends with a degree of irony. Well, Wonderfilled and TSR are getting back together, which is why he keeps using the word we in here. We appreciate you all. We continue our mission to make new games. I think it's clear evidence. Deinhardt, and we've reported on this previously in another video, that Deinhardt is getting back together with all is forgiven. They're getting back together. There are still people who actually support this buffoon who has filed for bankruptcy with due TSR. Now, I just, the stupidity that's here, maybe you've heard they've killed TSR again. Well, again, that implies it was killed before. It was never killed before, unless you're referring to the second TSR, which was forced to change its name to Solarian Games. If you're referring to that, then yes. But I think he's referring to when Wizards of the Coast bought TSR. It wasn't killed, it was bought. The reason it was bought was the CEO had mismanaged the company and it was in dire straits financially. It was a self-inflicted wound. The real irony here is that this TSR, this new TSR, this incarnation of this was not killed. It has not been killed. It is filed bankruptcy through mismanagement of the manager, the CEO of Justin Lanassa, and he put it was right there in the bankruptcy filing for everybody to read, a public document posted publicly where he mismanaged $360,000, gone, mismanaged it, but only took in $27,000 in revenue in 3 years, but agreed to pay $28,000 in rent. Claims he's owed back rent, but strangely, he's the one who was renting the facility to himself. And you know, it's all games and shenanigans, and that's not going to go well in court because bankruptcy courts don't like that sort of thing. But it's okay. It's Justin Lanassa's game to play. But it's a self-inflicted wound. This bankruptcy, self-inflicted. You know, you could say, well, they're doing this to limit the liability of the court cases, the Wizards of the Coast court case, the Eric Stina court case. Those court cases were filed stupidly by Justin. It's a self-inflicted wound. And even so, this doesn't eliminate the liability. This doesn't eliminate his. He's so intermingled, his finances and assets, commingled them. Doesn't matter. Okay. And he's named personally on the lawsuits. So even filing bankruptcy with TSR doesn't do much other than it was a legal trick to get a stay on the court cases. So he's just buying time. But instead of really buying time, what he's really bought is more legal fees. Because in the end, when the Eric Stina case settles in New York state law says automatically Eric's going to get all his legal fees back. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter you file bankruptcy. Eric can still go after Justin Lanassa personally. Doesn't matter. He can still go after the Dungeon Hobby Shop. Just doesn't matter that you file bankruptcy with one entity on the lawsuit. All you got was more legal fees. So, sure, let's run those legal fees up to $100,000 in the Eric Stina case. I'm sure Eric will enjoy getting $100,000 payday in the end. Why not? That'll be fun for him. Let's run the Wizards of the Coast court case up to $500,000. It's got to be already at $500,000, up to $1 million. Let's just run it up, $1 million, $1.5 million. They're going to go after him for their legal fees. That's all he's bought is more penalty for himself with this court trick to get a stay, to buy time. He's not bought time. It's the dumbest maneuver ever. But people still support him. People still get on board and think, oh, yeah. This guy is the dumbest thing going. He's mismanaged $386,000 in his court filing. If you believe that they had those loans, those promissory notes, if you believe that, he's apparently the dumbest thing going in business. So that's why we continue to report on it. Okay. And, while we're here, let's just read about what's going on with Wonderfilled. This is practically a press release on his part. We have several releases being readied for publishing this summer, including Giantlands Edition 2, available worldwide, and GL1, The Broken Road, first official Giantlands adventure module, written by James M. Ward and Stephen Deinhart. I just want to point out, Giant Lands came out 2 years ago. All right. And they're already going to second edition. They've not even published one module. They were forced to write a second edition. How bad is your game that you can't even let it stand for 5 or 10 years on an edition? You know, Wizards of the Coast can at least produce an edition of Dungeons and Dragons and let it stand for about 7 to 10 years before they do a new edition. Okay, at least, you know, at least that company can do that. I mean, Wonderfilled can't even produce a valid edition of the game. They got to completely rewrite it within 2 years and come before they've even produced modules. The game is so bad, they've got to come out with a second edition. Good job. Good job. Good job, Deinhardt. You and Lanassa deserve each other. So this is why we continue to report on this stuff and this drama. Do not be taken in by these fools. Do not be taken in by these fools. I just want to say special heartfelt condolences on my part to Don Samora. This holiday has got to be really tough. You know, it was a little bit hard for me thinking about my father who's passed. But you know, you have your father your whole life, and your parents are supposed to go before you. I just can't imagine it being your child. Parents are not supposed to outlive their children. And so, Dawn, heartfelt condolences on my part. Buddy, I hope you're doing well. You know, hug your family. I just can't even imagine it being Father's Day and having to put up with this lowbrow gutter scraping the bottom of a nasty trash can kind of crap that you put up with last night, the day before Father's Day. Okay. You got a wonderful daughter. All right. She was precious to you. She was a beautiful young woman. And I know you were so proud of her. And she's watching you from above. You know, she's an angel now watching you from above. And take comfort in that. Take comfort in that. And, you know, to everyone else, happy Father's Day. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. Please don't be taken in by these fools. Okay. Keep on gaming. Just don't do it with products that support these guys. These guys are off the hook, scraping the bottom of the barrel.